Good evening and a very warm welcome to this very special edition of We the People, coming to you from the historic Indian Military Academy in Dehradun. On this very day, 75 years ago, the IMA, as it is more commonly known across India, first formally came into being. Ironically, then a creation of British India. So this program this evening is a tribute both to the IMA and to the Indian soldier. But it's also a moment of introspection and pause. Is the army and the military at large still an option for India's generation next? Do India's young still get swayed by the romance and the respect that the army has historically evoked? Why is there a shortfall of thousands of officers that the military is facing? And do we, the people, do enough to respect and value our soldiers? Or is it mere rhetoric? I want to start with the story of somebody I believe exemplifies what being a soldier is all about. This here to my right is Major Gopal Mitra with his wife Sri Rupa. And they've come all the way from Bangalore. And maybe as you can tell, though it's not always immediately possible to figure this out if you don't know, Major Mitra lost his sight in an operation in Kashmir. What happened, Major Mitra? Tell us.
It was a brigade level operation, a very big operation. And we encountered a lot of militant hideouts. And in the process of destroying the militant hideout, there were militants around in that area. They had already booby-trapped that hideout, and they had placed a lot of explosives within the hideout. And in the process of destroying the hideout, the explosives went off, and there was a massive explosion, and the splinters hit me and 3 of my men who was there in the operation.
And today you've come back to the IMA, and you can't actually see these grounds that once shaped you. You can't actually look around and see this. But do the memories feel as vivid as they ever were?
Yes, indeed. And it's such a pleasure to be here again.
Does it feel the same even though you can't actually see it in a tactile sort of way?
Yes, I think because the memories are still very fresh. And what you have learned here, it holds you in very good stead, whether you are in the army or whether you are outside the army.
And what do you do today?
Well, after I got injured, the army has helped me to get an education. I did my master's from the Tata Institute of Social Sciences. I managed to do well there, and I managed to get an admission at the London School of Economics. I got a fellowship there, and I've just completed my master's, and I've returned back. I now work for an international NGO.
Well, you can hear this applause. Your story is remarkable, but guess what? There's an even more remarkable part to the story that you haven't heard yet, and that's sitting here. Your father also lost his sight in the 65 war. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. He left the army thereafter. He was boarded out of the army. And Gopal has had a very similar experience 30 years down the line.
But the fact that your father also lost his sight, did that in some ways make it easier for you to relate to Gopal? Was that a factor subliminally, subconsciously?
Yes, I guess it was probably subconscious because the fear of marrying a blind soldier was not there. Because to me, it's as natural. I was born to a blind father. So Gopal's blindness is absolutely no factor in my decision to marry him. I guess it's the person that I've married. So I guess, yes, maybe somebody who wasn't in my position, it would be very different for them because I've been brought up in a family where, my father has never been bitter about the army, about having lost his sight. And I think both of them have gained much more from the army than what they have lost.
Okay, thank you for your story. I'm going to come back to both of you. We have many more questions for you, but I want to just go to our panel. Let me start with you, General Shankar Prasad. We picked out one story. There are many such stories, but not as many are told without a trace of bitterness. I mean, that's what's really remarkable about this story. There's not a trace of bitterness. But in terms of the response of people, of ordinary people, is it easy to romanticize stories like this, come to a place like this, clap, feel proud, but do precious little for the Indian soldier after that?
Yes, I think it's a very apt comment that you've made. While we romanticize such stories, while we talk about them on such shows and on flag days and such like activity, in effect, balance of the year, what is the nation doing about such people, is something that we need to look at in the show today. I would just like to say that I've been in the army for 45 years, and I've seen the army change over these 45 years. When I was a young officer like these gentlemen are sitting here, if we went to a cinema, we were offered tickets at 50% concession. But today, unfortunately, the nation forgets. The moment the war is over and we have problems like these, somehow the nation forgets. But that notwithstanding, the army by itself still cares for such people.
NDTV's cricket app, Android and iPhone, fastest scorecard, special analysis, and much more. Download free. ndtv.com/apps.